A major update tonight in that investigation into the Washington County Sheriff's Office misuse of property and funds. County leaders shared the findings from the Arkansas State Police during an open meeting today that uncovered what they're calling significant systemic issues in the Sheriff's Office. 5 News reporter Laura Castleman breaks down what state police found in their investigation.
Tonight, the Washington County Quorum Court met to talk about an investigation into misappropriated funds and the misuse of county equipment.
Many are raising concerns, not just us here at the county. You can also hear determinations about the critical state of our sheriff's office from other agencies.
This is a black eye on the entire county.
Mike Stewart is the Washington County Judge's Chief of Staff. He detailed what Arkansas State Police found when looking into the allegations.
We started out hearing for many months, hearing about issues and misuse of property and potential theft of funds from the sheriff's office. We were astonished at what we were seeing and what we were finding, that it was actually factual evidence supporting all these claims. That people were taking skid steers home that they had bought and using it at their personal residence.
Stewart says the atmosphere within the sheriff's office needs to change, and they need to gain the public's trust.
We've got to get back to being an agency that we're looked up to again.
And when it finally all begins to crumble and fall apart, the only tool they have to fight it is to shut down the conversation.
Catherine Baker is the Washington County Deputy Attorney. She shared findings of the taxpayer dollars being misspent.
This employee spent $104,000 of taxpayer funds to purchase a piece of equipment unnecessary for the sheriff's office, and immediately, according to witness accounts, took it to their private property where they were constructing some large projects.
We reached out to Sheriff Cantrell, and this was his response. This is election season, and the judge's chief of staff is running for sheriff. I think that's all that needs to be said. In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Laura Castleman, 5 News.
Well, things are much quieter tonight than they were just a few hours ago, and rain and storms were impacting a lot of the area. Chief Meteorologist Scott Covert is in the Weather Center tonight. And Scott, we have some more rain chances throughout the next couple days.
Daily rain chances, in fact, throughout the next 7 days. Here's where we're at out there right now. Things much quieter, as Morgan said. Still, though, a couple of spotty showers going to continue into the overnight hours. Most of us are going to sit under a nice cloudy sky. But we quickly turn our attention to tomorrow morning. Not everyone's going to see rain, but another batch of scattered showers, even some thunderstorms. Here's 8 a.m. So some of the kids might need the umbrella. Definitely check in with meteorologist Danny Cassidy. First thing on your 5 News this morning. He'll have the latest track on these cells. Moving through the area mid to late morning. They're going to be widely scattered, but they are going to be pushing through the area through at least the first part of tomorrow afternoon. The good news is, for all of our high school football games, whatever your evening plans include, maybe the Arkansas-Oklahoma State Fair, we're going to be nice by tomorrow evening. In fact, we'll actually end up seeing some sunshine by tomorrow afternoon. We're tracking numerous rain chances over the next several days, all with this very active weather pattern. Let me tell you what's behind it and what it could mean for our weekend plans and beyond right here in just a few moments.
Thank you, Scott. And new at 10, just a couple of hours ago, the state attorney general announced the city of Fayetteville is now in state law compliance after issuing an opinion yesterday saying the city was violating sanctuary city laws. AG Tim Griffin wrote in yesterday's opinion that Mayor Molly Ron's statement back in June on the city not assisting ICE indicated a state law violation. Today, he reversed that opinion and said city leaders provided evidence the city was compliant. The AG said Fayetteville could have lost state funding if they weren't compliant, but now says the city is eligible. In a statement from the city, Mayor Molly Ron says, "Our responsibility is to the people of Fayetteville, keeping neighborhoods safe, maintaining and improving reliable services, and investing in our future are our priorities. I appreciate the Attorney General's confirmation, which allows us to continue accessing state resources." Meanwhile, the Fayetteville Advertising and Promotions Commission voted to allow the city's tourism director to return from paid leave. Ryan Hawk was placed on leave on September 5th after 3 different complaints were filed from city tourism employees. Hawk will return to work on Tuesday. The commission released a statement following that decision, saying in part, quote, "The commission takes all concerns seriously, and our responsibility is to ensure that Experience Fayetteville operates with professionalism, accountability, and respect for everyone we serve. We're confident that moving forward, Ryan Hawk will lead the organization in a manner consistent with our values and expectations." New tonight, we're learning a man is dead after a motorcycle crash in Sulphur Springs. This happened off State Highway 59 and East Patterson Street near the Dollar General. The Benton County Sheriff's Office says 61-year-old Patrick Glenn Riley of Sulphur Springs died in the crash. Deputies say a Chevy Tahoe was stopped in traffic when a motorcycle then struck the back of the car. Well, in Benton County today, the man found guilty for the rape of a woman near a Bentonville Walmart last year was sentenced to 72 years behind bars. Last November, Marco Morales entered a woman's car in a Walmart parking lot in Bentonville, held her at gunpoint, and made her drive to a separate location where he raped her. Today, that victim took the stand, sharing her account to the jury. Prosecutors say it's her testimony that helped lead them to this conviction.
Always have to put a victim on the stand. And it's a constant struggle. That is a reason that sometimes we plea a case out and there's maybe a little bit less punishment than we think is warranted.
Morales will have to serve 62 years until he's eligible for parole. Well, some members of the Fort Smith community are calling on a city director to step down. It comes after he walked out of this week's city board meeting during a moment of silence to honor Charlie Kirk and a Fort Smith resident. In this video, board member Andre Good can be seen exiting the room during that moment of silence and returning after it ended. Since this meeting, people have taken to social media, some criticizing Good and asking he step down, others defending his decision.
We can get on Facebook and we can name call and do all those things, but let's have a discussion. I mean, what I want to do is ask questions and hear both sides so that ultimately we can arrive at the truth.
We have reached out to Andre Good to get his take and have not yet heard back. Well, a key federal advisory panel voted today on making changes to the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule. Members voted against recommending the MMRV vaccine for children younger than 4, instead recommending the children get the measles, mumps, and rubella shot separately from the chickenpox vaccine. Their recommendation is expected to shape doctor recommendations, state vaccine policy, as well as access and insurance coverage. The Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices has undergone a major shakeup in recent weeks. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fired all the panel members and picked their replacements, some who share his vaccine skepticism. The panel meets again tomorrow, where they're expected to discuss COVID-19 vaccines for the fall and a hepatitis B vaccine recommendation. Well, around Arkansas, the nationwide immigration crackdown affects some industries more than others: construction, food service. But one less obvious industry with a huge footprint in the state is worried about hitting roadblocks. Maya Ellison spoke with the trucking industry lobbyist to learn whether we could feel the impacts of the crackdown and prices we pay for all those goods truckers deliver.
The state's Trucking Association reported that 92.2% of manufactured goods are transported by trucks. Making that possible are the drivers behind the wheel. But recent legislation, like Act 604, has put stricter regulations on drivers in Arkansas.
Since June 25th, they put 279 drivers out of service for not being able to meet that requirement.
Those numbers have opened up questions as to whether or not freight companies could feel the impact here in the state. Arkansas Trucking Association President Shannon Newton says that's not exactly the case.
The overall economic dynamic in our industry right now is one of oversupply. So our industry is actually looking at almost 3 years of recession-like environment.
And because there are more drivers than needed, Newton says driver availability hasn't been an issue. Instead, she says the main focus is making sure that qualifications are met.
So our position on immigration is really indifferent to that. Like, our position is the driver qualified? Is he medically qualified? Is he safe? Does he have the proper training and the credentials? And so across the board, you see these efforts to try to make sure that everybody's playing by the same set of rules.
Newton says that also includes operations like carriers who legally employ visa drivers from Mexico and Canada. The concern, however, is making sure policies don't harm those who are following the law.
From our perspective as an association, it's making sure that the employers are informed. Like, what is the expectation? How do they become compliant? How do they ensure that the drivers that they're hiring do have the appropriate credentials?
Steve Good with the Arkansas Retailers Association shares a similar view. He says while driver shortages aren't being felt in the state, they hope to ease concerns.
You know, we're hiring folks that there are no issues with, so there is no fear in our retail stores. You know, we don't see it from the wholesalers that we deal with. And even those that ship direct from the manufacturer, we're not seeing any issues there.